In this video, we're going to tackle changing to the new user interface, which I think is a big improvement in Microsoft Teams. They changed the interface with new versions, but they let the old interface behind and allowed the user to change. The problem is they didn't communicate that too well. I've showed this as part of another video, but I thought I'd do it very quickly. I have Microsoft Teams open. I'm going to come up here to my icon, sort of on the top right hand side. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to left click on settings, and up comes a whole bunch of settings in all different tabs that you might not have known about. The one we're interested in is general. That's the tab by default. And I can use this slider on the right hand side and come down here under applications, and I'm going to make sure that this is turned on. And there's a check mark here that says turn on new meeting experience. By default it's off, and it says it requires restarting Teams. That's a awful good note or comment to make sure, because it doesn't seem like when you make this change anything happens. You don't have to save your settings, just click close, and now you have to exit Teams. So if I go up here in the X and I click this, Teams by default, even though the program stops, it's still running on the background. And I'm not going to show you the window, but at the bottom right hand side on Windows, if you know when you remove a USB drive and you want to make sure it's safe to remove it, you click on a down arrow, look for that USB icon, hunt for Microsoft Teams icon in that same little block. If it's there, right click on it and quit it, and that'll get it out of there. Otherwise it's running in the background, and when you double click the Teams icon again, it comes up real fast. That's because it didn't really stop. So stop that, restart it, and let me show you very quickly how you can tell whether it's there. So I'm going to click this icon here to do a meet now. I'm not going to meet with anybody. I'm just going to meet with myself. And some things look different here, but I'm going to click join now so that we get to the real differences that have occurred. And give it some time to connect here, and the window comes up. And that's the first thing. This is a window. This wasn't a separate window before. That actually clears up some confusion that people had when they're trying to show people what's happening in Microsoft Teams itself. They ran into some problems with that, and that fixes the problem. Also notice this bar that used to be down here and got in the way all the time, and as I moved my arrow down, it came up. All those functions changed to up here, so don't panic when you don't see that bar. You'll see participants, windows, chat, windows. It takes a while for the software to catch up with what you're doing, right? So here's a chat window, here's a raise your hand window, here's the settings where you can turn your camera on and off and your mic on and off, and here's where you can share out different devices. And that stuff is in a much neater place than it was before. It just works a good bit better, the user interface. So the other thing that you might be interested in, let's get rid of that window. There are more actions. You'll notice it says gallery, and it gives you some choices here that are grayed out. This gives you better control over all the user windows. So I think it's a 7x7 matrix, so you can have 49 people show up at one time, and you can switch some things around here if you need. So that just gives you an introduction to the new interface. My guess sometime in the future they'll change over to this permanently and not give people an option anymore. But they didn't want people sitting in the middle of a meeting or starting a meeting and all of a sudden the interface changed for them. So good luck with that. Hopefully that helps you out, and we'll see you sometime in the future.